Hello there guys, glad to see you watching another video of mine, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing PETR CECH and the possibility of us bringing him back as a sporting director and technical director of football at our club. Now this story has been broken exclusively by Matt Law of the Telegraph. We are looking to bring him back as we look to rebuild in the summer, and of course when you hear the word rebuild, it's going to be exciting. Matt says that PETR is seen as someone that the club hopefully thinks he can bring back the fans. Matt says that the club is surprised by the angst that Chelsea fans have for Sarri, and they're not happy with the empty seats in the stadium. Now, the club wants to bring back hope within the fans and let them know that the club still has ambition for the future. Now, it's reported that if Cech does take over and potentially becomes our new sporting director of football. Now it's been reported that if Cech does take this role and potentially becomes our sporting director and technical director of football, that he would not have the same power that Michael Emenalo had back in the day. But if you guys remember me saying a while back, whoever did take over as the new director of football isn't going to have complete control. I believe it was my Luis Campos video. Feel free to check it out. About a year ago. It's not really a surprise to me, but I must say it is exciting about the prospect of ex-players coming back and having a role in the team, whether it's a coaching role or in PETR's situation, a director of football. So many players like Nedved and Kluivert have taken over these roles at PSG and Juventus, and over time you grow and learn in this role, right? So we've seen examples of ex-players coming back, even with Bayern Munich, where legends will come back and really like set the tone as what it means to be what we are, right? What we represent, almost like an ambassador, but more than that. I think PETR will be more than that. Although it has been reports that Didier is coming back in more of an ambassador role to try to help. Help rebrand us and really bring back the culture that we once were, and put a stamp on ourselves in Europe, right? Be once again the best in Europe. Now, many people may not agree with the possibility of bringing back PETR CECH, as some may believe that he's not qualified yet. I know Michael Ballack has been a name that's been thrown out there, and bringing back Lampard as a coach, or maybe even as a sporting director. I've been hearing all types of reports now, but I feel like with PETR, he's an extremely intelligent guy. He's always rated highly about his former teammates, that he's one of the most intelligent players of people you'll ever meet. He speaks several different languages, so that really tells you how intelligent the guy is. I mean, he speaks like seven different languages, which is not easy to do. He has several qualifications, and most importantly, he has a great relationship with our owner, Roman Abramovich. Now, that is the key for me, because if somebody is going to be needed to have a great relationship with Roman, it's not Marina Granovsky, it's definitely PETR CECH if he's going to be in the sporting role, because he has a football mind, and I've been stressing this enough, that we need football minds in the board level, right? Our board is great when it comes to making commercial deals and getting sponsors and making the best financial decisions, right? But when it comes to football, the footballing side, that's where they're lacking at. And I feel like PETR, with his intelligence and just his aura around him, he's a legend. So, I think him being in that role would help out a lot, even if he isn't given a complete control over transfers and stuff. I think that the club will respect his decisions, or at least consider his footballing decisions, and really take into consideration that he really knows what it takes and what it means to be a Chelsea player, or representing the badge. So I think that's a great shout. I was screaming for Michael Ballack, but I'm definitely open to PETR trying it out, because like I said, he's a very intelligent young, well, not young, he's older than me, but He's a young mind, a fresh, refreshing mind and personnel to have amongst the board. I think he will help bridge the gap between Mauricio Sarri uh, and the board. Even though Sarri is clearly older and maybe has been around football longer than Cech, but I feel like him being able to, the personality that Big Petter was, right? I mean, he's kind of hard. Like, he's like N'Golo Kante. He's kind of hard not to like, hard not to love. Like, he's always positive, and everybody that he's ever come across is always speaking highly on him. So, clearly he's great with personnel and great with people, and he's a great leader. And I think that would be great to have in our locker, right? Also with Drogba coming around, just imagine if you were a young player that we brought to the club, and Didier Drogba tells you you have the potential to be better than I was, right? I mean, that can really motivate a player to really go at whatever the goal is, right? Become the best player that he can be. So I'm up for that. Even with Drogba coming in, I want all these ex-players to come in to try to help establish or reestablish the culture that we once had. So I'm gonna keep looking into that. That story was brought to you by Matt Lohr. I think that's how you pronounce it. Matt Lohr of the Telegraph. So hey, if you want to read up on the article, you can. But on to my next story, and the final story is our links with Ryan Fraser of Bournemouth. In my previous video, I did mention him. If you want to go check it out, feel free. You can go check it out and come back here. I briefly did discuss Ryan Fraser. He was in my honorable mentions in my team of the year, my personal team of the year, where Hazard is included because he is the best player in the league. Now, it's been reported by the Daily Mirror that we've been monitoring Fraser. If you are a bit unsure of who he is or what position he plays, he's a winger, and currently he has the most goal contributions or goal created. He's created the most chances with 24 in the season, and he's contributed 20 goals this season, and he has the same amount of assists, 13, as Eden Hazard. So they're tied for first in the league for assists. Now, the Mirror is reporting that Fraser is looking to leave Bournemouth. He has about 12 months left on his current deal. There has been reports that he is considering playing out his contract to leave on a free, because that way he hopes he can become an attractive enough opportunity for a big club. But he's also hoping that with his current form, it's going to be enough interest from the big teams for the summer. If that's the case, there's been reports that Bournemouth want 20 million for him. If you want my opinion, he's a decent player. Obviously, he made my team of the year, or my honorable mentions in the team of the year. I believe he had his best attributes is his delivery and crossing, right? Good at set pieces, good at corners. He's not bad playing in tight spaces. He has a nice balance between pace and strength, which a lot of wingers need to have, because our wingers don't. Other than Hazard, our winger and Hudson-Odoi, of course, our wingers can't get past a defender anymore. Like Willian, he used to have like lightning speed, like almost close to Eden Hazard. I think he was at one point faster than Eden Hazard, but he doesn't have the legs anymore. So definitely in that regard, yes, he will be a great replacement for those players, right? But to be objective, is he enough to replace Eden Hazard if he were to leave? Which he did give us a signal that he's not leaving. So hopefully, yeah. But still, let's just keep it up in debate, just because it hasn't been official yet. He still hasn't signed the contract yet. So let's just be objective, or let's just think about the possibilities of him not actually staying, right? The question is, like I said, can he come in and replace Eden Hazard? I don't think so. He hasn't proven enough. I would like to see more of him, more how he performs against the bigger clubs. Like if you watch some of his games against Man City and Arsenal and Tottenham, he doesn't create nearly as much, or teams that Bournemouth should be on par with. He doesn't perform enough. But I have to say, 20 million in today's market is a safe investment. Look at Ross Barkley. I mean, we bought him for 15 million, and he easily has doubled his value. So in that regard, I wouldn't be surprised if we did bid for him. but I don't think he's ready to play at the level quite yet, at that high level, the highest level where you're consistently playing, putting in great performances against the bigger clubs and the smaller clubs. It doesn't matter. You're just that player. You are that guy. I don't think he's that person yet. He needs to still grow. He's still young, so he has time to grow. And we'll see. Hopefully, if we were to go in for him, we wait another season because, like I said, if that's the case, if he does want to wait and play out his contract, then let's just see how he performs the next season. Can he do it consistently? That was my thing about Mo Salah when he had the great season. Can he at least get another 20 goals this season? And he's already gotten 20 goals. He's the first team player in the league to have 20 goals this season. So obviously he is that player. He is what people thought he was last season. So you know. Also, I gotta stop this. No, I gotta stop this notion before I end this video that I've been seeing a lot of Liverpool fans, a lot of people saying that Virgil van Dijk is better than John Terry. I ought to end this video right now for that because that's just laughable. I mean, let's just be respectful, all right? Because I can come in and say what I want to say, but I'm not. I'm going to be respectful because I do believe Virgil van Dijk is the best defender in the league, the best center half in the league. And he's drastically improved Liverpool's back line, but he's nowhere near John Terry. Nowhere near John Terry. Not with his leadership, not with the trophies, not with the stats. If you want to pull up the stats, if you're an analytical guy, it's just no. Even the eye test tells you, if you were to go back and watch any game, pick any game that you want, other than the Barcelona game 2012 when he got himself a red card. I think it was a bit harsh that he got the red card, but nonetheless, pick any game you want other than that game and watch him play. Watch him play. I haven't seen Virgil van Dijk make it go at the ball, try to block a shot at goal with his head, diving header, right? Not only players I've seen don't do that consistently is John Terry and Nemanja Vidic. I think it's Vidic. It's the Man United captain. And yeah, Van Dijk is nowhere near that. He needs to be more. He needs to show us more. He needs to produce on the biggest of stages. I've seen games where he's been a bit shaky. So yeah, I don't think that he's on the level quite yet of John Terry. He has to put in 20 years worth of legendary performances on a consistent basis, and I just don't see that, right? So yeah, it's just not. It's not the case. I'm sorry. I have to shut this down. Even with Sterling, people saying that Sterling is better than Eden Hazard it's just nonsense. I'm not even going to entertain that anymore. I'm going to let you guys debate that. Also, I also want to know you guys' opinion about the Aston Villa versus Leeds United game. I've been saying that if it were me, there's no written rule that says you have to kick the ball out of play. I know it's sportsmanship, but Manchester City have done it plenty of times. Plenty of times. They haven't scored, but they've kept playing and tried to score. So, you know, if they're doing it right, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who's doing it. But I'm just saying, they're doing it. It's a high profile club. It's at the end of the day, it's business. This is the result business. You know, it's a lot on the line. A lot of people, a lot of players involved, a lot of money involved. So, you know, clubs want what they go out for. So almost by any means, as long as nobody gets harmed, they're willing to go to that next level, right? And there's no, like I said, there's no written rule that says that you have to kick the ball out of play, especially with these players flopping. Like I said, once again, Luis Suarez and Jordi Alba, they sit there on the floor complaining to the referees until they get the free kick or whatever. So no, and if it's not a head injury, no, you keep playing, and then hey, tough luck, you know. If it's a legit injury, I'm sorry for you, but there's no written rule that says you have to kick the ball out of play. It's just nonsense. And then the Leeds United manager, I couldn't be a player if my manager told me to purposely let the team score. It's not in my competitive nature to just sit there and let a team score against me. Like, I don't care if it's sportsmanlike or not. I'm not allowing them to score. No, I'm just not. You're gonna have to sub me off because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's just nonsense, man. Like, the Aston Villa players get into their faces, like, No, there was no obligation. So why did you guys just stop playing? You're told as a young player, as a young player at grade school level, play until the final whistle. It's play until you hear the whistle. That's in every sport. It's not even in football. It's in every sport, right? So, hey, it ended up being a 1-1 draw. It was a fantastic game. I'm gonna really start watching the championship games next season. I mean, I watched the occasional game this season, but I'm really going to watch the championship games too, because they're very entertaining. It's almost like you're there, because like the stadiums are so much smaller, and like it just has a more of a local feel. It's not big. It's not a big stadium, and it's refreshing to watch. So I'm gonna definitely tune into that. I'm definitely gonna be watching the playoffs. I hope that not Derby, but Aston Villa and Leeds United play against each other in the playoffs. I definitely want to see that. And then Derby County, I don't know if they qualified or not. I know they were like sixth place last time I checked. I know that it's like uh, third through sixth that compete. Yep, third through sixth that compete. So yeah, let's hope that we can get some good matches in the championship. I'm definitely gonna be monitoring Mason Mount, see how he performs in those games, those big profile games. And Tammy Abraham as well, who's been killing it, man, just killing it, absolutely just fantastic, scoring peach peaches of like uh, peaches of goals. I mean, just like fantastic finish, and not only that, just his movement, the way he's like Aguero, right, where he links up the play in the midfield, he initiates the attack, dribbles past a couple of players, passes it off, completes his run, and receives the ball for the tap in or the finish. It's fantastic. Anyway, subscribe if you're new, like, share, and I'm out.